Hey, what's going on, guys? The 64th annual Shizuoka Hobby Show has begun there in Japan, and that means we've got some news to talk about. So in this video, I'm going to go through some of basically like the Gunpla and then some other Bandai stuff. And then I will do a separate video talking about more stuff from like Kotobukiya and Max Factory and more, because there was, of course, a lot more other interesting stuff too that I want to go through. That video will have all of that stuff. But for now, let's get right into it with the big news from Bandai for their Gunpla stuff. They have actually the Bandai toy division has two new lines coming out that I think you guys will really love. The first one is the Gundam Miximize line. So the Miximize line is all about being able to mix and match parts, and the first three kits coming out in this line are, or I guess, are they technically kits? I suppose so. Anyway, there's the ARC 782, of course, Char's Zaku 2, and the Freedom Gundam. So one thing you guys might notice is the little bit different proportions on this, and then a little bit different kind of style to the design for these. But again, the point with this line is supposed to be that they're very easy to mix and match parts, even easier than on high-grade kits, actually. So there you go. That's the Bandai Toy Division new Miximize line. Then we also have the Gundam Cross line here. This one, kind of in a similar fashion, is made for kind of easy customization, but in this case, you're able to like customize the Gundam with the pilot, as we have the ARC 782 and Amuro, the Wing Gundam along with Hiroyui, and then the Freedom Gundam there with Kira Yamato. So with these, they're kind of like SD, chibi style characters and Gundams that you can swap heads with and bodies with and do all that. They're very cute, very fun, and that's what's new out of Bandai's Gundam toy division. But okay, then on to the real big news that everyone actually cares about. The big Christmas kit this year. It seems like every year there's kind of like around Christmas time, December, January, there's usually a big kit release, either like a big Verka or like obviously this past year was the new Perfect Grade kit. And so it looks like this time it's going to be kind of split, unless they announce something else later on. It looks like it's going to be split between, we have a new Master Grade coming out in December and then a new Full Mechanics kit coming out in January. The Full Mechanics kit is going to be the Grey's Ein from Iron Blood Orphans. A little bit out of nowhere, kind of nobody was really expecting this to get a 1/100 scale release. So it's very surprising, that's for sure, but it certainly looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Greys of all different varieties. I gotta say though that personally the Grey's Ein probably one of my least favorite Greys, but I'm still very excited for it. So this will be coming out in January. We don't know the price yet for this, but it's a pretty big model kit. If you guys remember that the Grey's Ein is actually quite large, so there you can see they had like a little kind of vignette diorama setup there of the Grey's Ein and the Master Grade Barbatos in like a kind of fight scene there, and you can see it's larger than the Barbatos. It's big, and so even though this is not a full-on Master Grade and it is just a Full Mechanics kit, do expect, you know, a good, like a relatively high price point for this once we get that out. But the other interesting thing will be to see how this will compare to the old 1/100 scale Greys kit, because that was not a Full Mechanics kit. If I remember correctly, the Greys and then the Greys Kai both came out before the Full Mechanics line actually started. And since that time, we've seen a lot of improvement in the Full Mechanics line, with the other recent releases basically being like kind of borderline Master Grades. I'm expecting the same for this. Now, obviously it won't have as much complexity under the hood as like a full-on Master Grade. It'll have like a fairly simple frame. It won't have like an opening cockpit gimmick. But as you can see just from like the exterior images, I mean, like the outer armor does look really nicely detailed and everything, so I think it's going to look really, really good. Looking forward to that one for sure. And then as I mentioned, in December we're getting the new Master Grade. We have seen this before, but now we're seeing it like in full color. This is the Seed Freedom version of the Astray Red frame. That's coming out for 7,500 yen. So yes, it is another Master Grade Astray, but this one does look to be like an entirely new mold. The design is very similar to the Astray Red frame that we've seen before, but different enough in ways that it looks like I said, it's an entirely new kit. So it'll be really interesting to check that out and kind of see what improvements there have been, just kind of from going from one version of the Astray Red frame to now a much more modern version of that. That being said, for anybody who is still feeling a little bit like Astray fatigue after having built maybe a few Master Grade Astrays already, this may not be something that's jumping out to you like right away, but I do think that it is going to be a really nice kit. I'm looking forward to that one for sure as well. But for me, honestly guys, I got to tell you, probably the most exciting news that we had was the two new HG HG kits that we're going to be getting out from Gundam X. So we already have the Gundam Leopard that's coming out, and we did have that on display there at the show, but they also showcased the new Gundam Versigo as well as the Ashtaron, which are both going to be coming out in HGs as well. The Versigo coming out in October for 2,900 yen, the Ashtaron coming out the following month for a little bit more in November for 3,600 yen, both of which have really cool gimmicks in those. Obviously the Versigo has the extendo arms, sort of like Gundam Nataku style, and then it also has the chest burster gimmick where it expands, opens up at the chest. But it'll be great to have a nice new HG kit of the Versigo. And then the Ashtaron does have a gimmick as well, and then it's got those big claws and then also kind of transforms. I will admit the transformation does look pretty derpy, but the kit itself, at least in its like mobile suit form, looks really, really cool. I'm really actually looking forward to the Ashtaron. I've never been like a huge fan of the Ashtaron, but now seeing it in model kit form here in the HG, I do think it looks really, really cool. So I'm really looking forward to both of those. I'm just glad to see that we're getting more stuff from Gundam X. If you guys remember at the beginning of the year when we had the announcement of the Tifa Deal figurized standard kit that was going to be coming out, I had hoped, I wouldn't say prediction, but just I expressed my hope that we might see more Gundam X stuff coming out this year, aside from just the Tifa model kit. And so I'm really happy to see that we're getting the Leopard, we're getting the Versigo, we're getting the Ashtaron, and then hopefully that will continue. We'll maybe get a few more. The one that I would really love to see is the Vertigo, but I think the Leopard Destroy would also make a lot of sense. Of course, it would be really cool to see like a G Falcon in HG form as well, but time will tell. So if you can believe it, that was pretty much it for like the standard release new Gundam stuff. Of course, they did also have the MGSD Kshatriya there on display. They had the new HG Goof Ignited there on display. Those kits both look really cool. Those are ones that we've known have been coming out for a little while. We did have some new P-Bandai stuff, of course. We have the P-Bandai HG Gundam Spiegel, aka the Shadow Gundam from G Gundam, there was on display. That looks really cool as well. And again, the Bolt Gundam gets snubbed, as we first had the Mandala Gundam first before they finished the Shuffle Alliance with the Bolt Gundam, and now we're getting the Shadow Gundam or the Gundam Spiegel out first as well. So the Bolt Gundam once again will just have to wait, and I don't know. At first I kind of thought about this, that maybe it's to do with like the war in Ukraine, that Bandai doesn't want to put out like a Russian themed model kit. But now I'm thinking maybe that is actually the reason, because after, you know, missing a slot one time, but then now again, Bandai not making the Bolt Gundam and making something else instead before it, I am thinking that I wonder if it does have to do with the war in Ukraine. I'm not sure, but in the meantime, it does kind of give further hope to the possibility that we just might see an HG Tequila Gundam at some point. I mean, I did think at one point that it was completely impossible, but now that they keep continuing this series of premium Bandai exclusive HG G Gundam releases, hey, you never know. I guess don't give up hope yet. But right, another HG here from G-Quox, the premium Bandai Gyan Hakuji packs, and just kind of basically a different color version of the Gyan there from G-Quox series. This one's coming out for 2,600 yen. Personally, this is kind of a little bit different color scheme. I kind of like the original, just kind of white, like kind of off-white, light gray color scheme for this release, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This one's like a little bit closer to like the traditional Gyan colors, I guess, with like the gold shield and all that. And then they also had a really nice display there of this new premium Bandai MGSD Wing Gundam 0 EW structural coating / black version. This one's going to be coming out for 11,000 yen. Quite the price jump for this version of it, but the main armor and everything looks to basically just be like in black. But then for a lot of like the substructure of it, they have it molded there in this kind of really like rainbow iridescent clear that looks really, really cool. I do have to say, it does look quite impressive. So that one is going to be expensive, but I think probably there's going to be a lot of collectors out there that are definitely going to want to get their hands on that one. It does look really cool. So okay, we had a few other things that I want to talk about here. That's pretty much it for all the Gundam stuff. Just some other Bandai stuff to mention here before we go. They did have some new HG Caropla stuff from Keroro there on display. If you guys are into that, basically there's kind of 4 new main kits from that line for the HG Caropla line. But then kind of what was the other really exciting thing from that series is they had a 30 minutes preference powered 723, I think is the name of it. I think that's right. Just kind of like a female Mecha Musume kind of character from that series that's going to be joining the 30 minutes preference lineup. So that one looks really cool as well. Actually, I think that one will be pretty popular. I'm looking forward to checking that one out myself. And then also in the 30 minutes preference line, we are getting Enya, which is a mecha from the new series that actually hasn't started yet. I think it's starting from June, called Vertex Force. I believe there's a trailer out online. You can see that. I've seen it. I'm not sure if it's something that I'm really going to be particularly that interested in personally, but I will say that this 30 minutes preference Enya kit that's coming out does look really cool. I'm kind of interested to know why it's coming out as the 30 minutes preference release and not just as like an HG or a 30 minutes missions kit, because like we have 30 minutes missions stuff like the Armored Core series, which is kind of, it's in 30 minutes missions because it's similar in build, but again, I'm still honestly kind of confused why the Armored Core stuff is not just an HG line. But anyway, the reason for the Enya being in 30 minutes preference and not 30 minutes missions, I'm a little curious about. But anyway, that's it for that. And then there's a new 2-part theatrical release OVA coming out for Votams. The Grey Witch is the translation of the title. I think the title is technically in German, which I'm not going to attempt to pronounce. So it's the Grey Witch anyway. This new, Votams OVA. And so we're getting some cool new stuff from that, including at least 2 new HG kits that we can see so far. Likely we'll see more. I think this is going to be something similar to like the Requiem for Vengeance model kits that we got from Bandai from that series, the Gundam and the Zakus that we got from that series, where these HG Scope Dog kits are probably going to come out once, and I would not count on them ever coming out again. So if it's something that you think you guys are going to want, I would definitely recommend pre-ordering these once they are available for pre-order, because they're a little bit different kind of designs, a little bit different take on the Scope Dog design there, as you can see with these proportionally being a little bit different. The details are a little bit different. So I've seen mixed opinions on the design so far. I think probably ultimately it'll end up growing on people, but we've got 2 new HG kits that are going to be coming out from this, as well as a new High Metal R version of the Scope Dog from this series here as well, which you can see there, which are, as I understand, I've never really done anything with High Metal R, but I think they're basically just sort of like a robot Tamashi essentially, but with some metal parts in there as well. And then there is also, unrelated to the movie, but just there is also a High Metal R version of the Brutish Dog that's going to be coming out as well. That's just kind of like the traditional Brutish Dog, which has an HG kit on the way as well, which I'm looking forward to checking out. But there is also going to be this High Metal R version as well. And then the last thing I want to talk about here is not actually like technically Bandai, it's Mega House, which I think is a part of subsidiary of Bandai, I believe anyway, but this is something that I don't think that I talked about before, but it was shown before, the VAC kit line, or the variable action kit line. They have these Kondo versions of the Gyaradoga kit coming out here as a commander unit and then a general unit. These are going to be 6,000 yen each, coming out in October. So these were previously shown in like a prototype form. Now we're seeing a bunch of new images for them, and I was not aware before that these are actually like model kits. It's just like a model kit statue that you can build. So it's not an articulated model kit, but it is going to be an assembly kit that you're going to put together just like a model kit, and then it's just like a fixed pose statue. So of the Kondo versions there of the Gyaradoga, which look really, really cool. So before, when I was just thinking that these are just like figures, just like a typical like Mega House figure, I was less interested, but now knowing that they're actually model kits that I can actually put together, I am really looking forward to checking these out now. And then they also had a prototype there for a Dwaj as well, which looks really cool. And then they had like a poster image kind of teasing the O2 or GO2 from that same series as well. So there are going to be a couple more releases coming out in that line, which does look really, really cool. And then going back to the Votams new OVA movies, there is also going to be a VAC series, a VAC Platoon series that are going to be coming out related to the new Votams OVA as well, that are going to be coming out from Mega House. So I'm guessing those are going to be the same. They're just going to be like model kit statues there that you can build. So all that stuff looks really cool. Let me know in the comments what you guys are most excited about. For me, like I said, I think it's got to be the new Gundam X HG kits that are coming out, and I hope to see more of those. But let me know your guys' opinions down in the comments. And this is not comprehensive, by the way. There's a lot more, especially like the 30 minutes label stuff. There's a lot more 30 minutes fantasy, 30 minutes sisters stuff that I didn't cover in this. I just wanted to cover some of the highlights for you guys, but you can check out more of this stuff online. I don't think any of this is going to be up for pre-order at the moment quite yet, but it should be up for pre-order soon if there's any of the stuff that, like the standard release, obviously not the P-Bandai stuff, but any of the stuff that you are interested in pre-ordering, check the link in the video description to USA Gundam store once this is available for pre-order. Then you can pre-order any of that stuff that's going to be coming out later this year and or beginning of next year. That's it for this video, guys. Like I said, stay tuned. I will have a video going over all of the, again, not all, but a lot of the Kotobukiya, Max Factory, Aoshima, X Plus, and more stuff in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. Make sure that you're subscribed so as not to miss that, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like as well too while you're here. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you soon. Later. Bye.